Today is day one of the winter storm in the Midwest where we're going to have 6 to 10 inches of snow. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Pew. It's November 28th, 2025. Now for places like northern Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, you guys are already seeing some of this snow, and that's pretty much going to happen all day today. And while it may not be as severe as what's going to happen in the Midwest, you guys are still going to see a couple inches. Now we're going to see most of this snowfall occur in places like Iowa and northern Illinois, but things won't start until way later. So for example, in the western portion of Iowa, things may not start until around like 2 p.m. Central Time. But we won't see the heaviest amount of snow accumulation until around like 10, 11, 12 a.m. And the similar thing can be said for the southern part of Minnesota and northern part of Missouri. But for places like northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin, we won't see this until overnight. And most of the heaviest amount of snow accumulation is going to happen tomorrow or Saturday. And so places like northern Indiana and Michigan probably won't see things until tomorrow morning around like 9, 10 a.m. Central Time. Now these time frames are just approximations, so they may not exactly happen when I said it, but just know that Friday night into Saturday into Sunday morning is when most of the snow is going to occur. So if we look at 500 millibars of midwinter troposphere, we can see that we still have this low pressure system that came from the Pacific Northwest, and it's now around the Rockies. And once this low pressure moves away from the Rockies, it's going to deepen. One, it's going to bring in some vorticity or spin, and that's going to help with the upward motions, but also a decent amount of shear, which is going to tilt those updrafts. And so eventually we're going to have a surface low pressure develop somewhere around the Colorado area, and that's going to travel eastward into the plain. And this low pressure is going to be doing a lot of things. So for example, because of its counterclockwise flow and its current position, it's going to be bringing a lot of southerly flow into the Midwest and plains, bringing in some warm, moist air. But we're going to have a warm front that's going to try to pursue itself into the Midwest. Now for the Midwest, even though we're going to have some warm air advection, we're still going to have some freezing temperatures. But this is going to be significant because if we look at 850 millibars or 5,000 feet above the surface, we're going to have a little bit of a low-level jet stream going into the Midwest. And so with this 850 millibar jet stream, we're going to have a lot of strong southerly flow into the Midwest. And so we're going to have a thing called an isentropic ascent. An isentropic ascent is essentially, by definition, air being forced upward on surfaces of constant potential temperature. In other words, in this diagram that I'm showing, at the surface we have some cooler temperatures and we have this warm front pushing through, but we're having a lot of air being forced upward, and it's going to kind of glide upwards above that cold air. Because we know we have a lot of winds a little bit above the surface, this is going to reinforce this phenomenon. And so with this warm air rising in this fashion, it's providing a lot of constant lift. And unlike supercells where you need really strong explosive updrafts, snowstorms really like this constant gradual lift, which is exactly why we're going to see the most amount of snow accumulation in the Midwest, specifically Iowa and northern Illinois.